This is our Diploma of Fine Arts exhibition for 2018. So we have 7 artists, and this is showcasing the work that they did over the year. This is just a small sample of what they've done. So in the diploma program, students are here for 3 or longer years, but the last year they spend working on a dedicated body of work. So that's what you'll see in this exhibition. So I'll just talk a little bit about the artists that aren't here, and then we do have one artist here, so she can talk about her work. So we can start with Karen. So Karen's work is, she's really been studying color theory, and so all of these pieces are made with 3 colors. And one of her investigations is when does a painting become an object? So these pieces can actually be lifted and interchanged, but by her, not necessarily by the public, but just like she really kind of plays around with what kind of combinations work best. And one of our instructors had advised her to paint the walls gray just to make the colors stand out more. So she has some over on this wall as too. So it's really interesting just to see like how subtle variations can really stand out, and putting them on the shelf, it makes them seem like, are they a painting or are they a decorator object? So that's Karen's work. And then here we have Fern's work, and Fern is working around ideas about the house and what do we think about the notion of a house. And her structure is just maybe what we would typically think of a house. Like when we're kids, we tend to draw an A-frame house, even if we've never lived in such a house. That's what we draw. So she makes these panels herself, and there's a couple more over here. So just thinking about the idea of the objects we own, and how that the one object isn't better than the other. It just becomes like a sort of a mix. And it's interesting how she plays with the scale. Like things aren't necessarily to scale, but just like, how we fill our house with objects. So, and then Ari's work. Ari's created his own particular language. He's using like a kind of gel medium, and so something that's really kind of artificial, and then adding natural objects to them. So he talked about his work being a lot to do with like advertisement. That's what I remember. So you could see it more in here, where he's actually taking sort of images that we see every day. And I think he's using images that range from like Playboy magazine to see kind of Marlboro Man, and then creating a surface over them so it's kind of interfering with what we're looking at, and it's created a kind of new beauty to them, so it doesn't really even matter what is behind them. And then Michelle, she's been doing work that's more sculptural, and she is using a lot of sort of things she finds around her house or at construction sites. Like you can see this glass tile, and she's actually filled it with water. So it's kind of reinventing things that are just found and then making them into sculptural objects. She has some more across the room. I don't know if we want to travel there. It's just, and so she's kind of placed them in different areas too, so we look at them maybe more a part of the architecture. People were very excited at the opening that many works sold, so they put giant red dots which is nice. We like to encourage people to buy art. So these works are made from plaster and glass, and I really enjoy how she's using water as a kind of medium as part of her work. And then over here we have Deborah, and she's working with pieces of wood and, again, maybe kind of construction materials that are between painting and sculpture. And in this case, she's actually painted the wall. So then it's really kind of, when does the architecture finish and when does the painting start? And she has a couple more pieces across the room here, just playing with that same idea of the, architectural forms, painting. And in these ones, she's also included photography. And then Deborah, these are images that people sent her. She asked people to send in images of selfies. So there's a really interesting paradox in her work, because people never even think about selfies, like they don't think about it taking any time. And here she's really done this kind of laborious painting of them, so really kind of questioning the time spent and making people slow down a bit and look at these images. And I think she started off this project even wondering, like, what is the purpose of the selfie? And she mentioned that people really enjoyed seeing this version of themselves. And she also has done these works where she's asked people, or she's just looked on Twitter, or not Twitter, Instagram, they have something called the picture of the day. And so people put up whatever picture they want for the picture of the day. So it's just very random that she picked whatever the image of the day was, and then she'd make a painting of it. Again, something that might be really quick. She's spending a lot of time doing. So, and then the last artist is Kim, and she's here to talk about her work. So we'll go over to the paintings.
So, I have two bodies of work here today in the gallery. These are my paintings, and they're keenly on light and the recording of light. So here we have increments of a shadow as it creeps across my studio wall. I recorded it with black paint, oil paints. And I felt that keeping it simple between black and white would help to convey that sense of movement and that sense of light, so light and dark. And my process was mostly distilling it down to how best can I communicate this idea of time and time's movement. So I have that shadow moving from left to right and only recording that, so it makes a pattern of movement across the canvases. So I also have my drawings across the room. Over here, same premise, different project. So I have these little objects drawn onto prepared boxes. The movie I sourced my screen captures from was Kiss Me Deadly, a film noir. Film noir is using just the economy of what is available, so shot on location using only light sources available, so maybe a single camera to capture this very strong sense of drama and action. Again, this is light and time, something not really thought about in movies, but pacing and movement. These are quick moments captured on my cell phone that I would later source to make these drawings, and I've been asked a lot about the significance of using a box, and that comes back to the economy of what is available and how best can I capture this gesture of quickness and time captured. Thank you.
So, as you can see, there is a lot of interesting work in this exhibition. We've only touched on a few pieces. You have until June 22nd to see the work, so come on to the Slide Room Gallery.